Good morning, student. Today we are going to discuss about types of skeletal muscle contraction. Types of skeletal muscle contraction. The last class, so we studied about contraction of the skeletal muscles. That means mechanism of the contraction. Okay. Today we are going to discuss about types of skeletal muscle contraction. The types of contraction depend on the changes in the length as well as the tension of the muscle. The contraction depends on the changes in the length and the tension of the muscle fibers at the time of its contraction. Okay, do you understand? The skeletal muscle contraction takes place based on the length as well as the tension of the muscle fiber. Okay, so based on this condition, that means length of as well as the tension of the muscle fibers, the muscle contraction is classified into two types. Based on which one? Based on length of the muscle and the tension of the muscle fibers. Tension of the muscle fibers. The muscle contraction is classified into two types. The first one is known as isotonic contraction, and second one is known as isometric contraction. Do you understand? Based on the length of the muscle and tension of the muscle fibers, the muscle contraction is classified into two types. One is isotonic, another one is the isometric. So what is the isotonic? Iso means same. Tonic means weight or resistance. Tonic means what? That means ton. Ton means weight or resistance. Based on the weight or resistance, the contraction takes place. So that condition of the contraction is known as isotonic contraction. Okay, in this isotonic contraction, the length of the muscle changes. I already told you, muscle contraction types based on the length as well as the tension of the muscle fibers. So the isotonic contraction takes place based on the length of the muscle changes. But the tension remains constant. Out of these two categories, length as well as the tension, the length of the muscle changes will take place in the isotonic contraction. But the tension of the muscle fibers remains constant. Here the force is produced. But the force is unchanged one. The force is unchanged one. During the contraction, force is produced, but the force is unchanged. We can give the example for the isotonic contraction, lifting the dumbbells and weight lifting. See that in the diagram. That is the example for the isotonic contraction. Do you understand? Based on the tension as well as the length of the muscle fibers, the contraction is classified into two types. One is the isotonic, another one is the isometric. In the isotonic contraction, the length of the muscle changes, but the tension of the muscle remains constant. The tension of the muscle fibers remains constant. The force are produced there, but the force are unchanged. For this example, we can say lifting of the dumbbells as well as the weight lifting. Okay. So second type is isometric contraction. In the isometric, iso means same. Metric means distance. Metric means what? Distance. The isometric contraction, the length of the muscle does not change. Opposite for this one. The length of the muscle does not change. But the tension will change. As well as the force produced, the force is changed one, not unchanged, changed one. Opposite for everything isotonic contraction. For this example, we can say pushing against a wall, holding a heavy bag. These are the examples for the isometric contraction. Do you understand? The isometric contraction, the length of the muscle does not change. At the same time, the tension not remains constant. The tension of the muscle fibers not constant. Okay, the force produced is changed one. The force is changing in the isometric contraction. Example for this one, holding a heavy bag as well as pushing against the wall. It is one of the 3 mark question. Differentiate between the isotonic contraction as well as the isometric contraction. Do you understand? This is based on the length of the muscle fibers as well as the tension of the muscle fibers. We are classifying the muscle contraction into two types. One is isotonic, another one is isometric. Okay, isotonic example, lifting the dumbbells as well as the weight lifting. Isometric example, pulling against a wall as well as the holding a heavy bag or heavy things in the hand. Okay, so next one, types of skeletal muscle. Types of skeletal muscle. So in the types of skeletal muscle takes place based on the myosin. You know what is myosin? Myosin is a protein which is present in the blood. Myosin is a protein present in the muscle. Myosin. Myosin is one of the protein substance which is present in the muscle. You already studied in the structure of the muscle. Two types of the proteins are present. Okay. So based on the myosin, the skeletal muscle fibers are classified into different types. Which one? Based on the myosin protein or based on the myosin. The muscle, that is a type of the muscle fibers it takes place. Okay. See, muscle fibers classified on the basis of the rate of shortening. Rate of shortening. Either fast or slow. Either fast or slow. And the way in which they produce the ATP. So during the function of the muscle, the ATP is producing. ATP means what? Adenosine triphosphate. The ATP needed for contraction. Muscle fibers classified on the basis of their rate of shortening, either fast or slow, and the way in which they produce the ATP needed for contraction. For contraction, we need the ATP. So either oxidative or glycolytic. Oxidative or glycolytic. That means based on the myosin, presence of the myosin, amount of the myosin, the skeletal muscle fibers are classified into two types. One is the fast fibrous, another one is the slow fibrous. First one is the what? Fast fibrous. Another one is fibrous. The second one is the slow fibrous. Do you understand? Based on the presence of the myosin. Because of the presence of the myosin only, the rate of the shortening or either fast or slow movement will take place. In that time, they produce the ATP. This ATP molecule only needed for the contraction of the muscles. Do you understand? One word answer. Which is helpful for the contraction of the muscles? ATP molecules. Either oxidative or otherwise called glycolytic. Okay. So these muscle fibers based on the myosin, how many types? Two types. One is the fast fibrous, another one is the slow fibrous. The fast fibrous, the fibrous containing myosin with high ATPase. ATPase is the enzyme. ATPase activity. So which one? Fast fibrous. That means the fibrous containing myosin with high ATPase activity are called the fast fibrous. The fibrous containing myosin with low ATPase activity is called the slow fibrous. Do you understand? Based on the presence of the myosin, the skeletal muscle fibers are classified into two types. One is the fast fibrous, another one is the slow fibrous. What is meant by fast fibrous? Fibers containing myosin with high ATPase activity. That means ATPase activity is more in the myosin. With the help of the myosin. That type of the fiber is known as the fast fibrous. Fibers containing myosin with lower ATPase activity, that is called the slow fibrous. For fast fibrous example, this type of the running. Slow fibrous, which of the muscle fibrous, this type of the slow running. Okay, that is an example. So next one. Types of the muscle fibers. Another type based on that. Because the skeletal muscles are classified into different types based on the different type of the characters. First, the length of the muscle as well as the tension of the muscle fibers. The contraction is classified two types. First, we discussed. So second, based on the presence of the myosin and the production of the ATP molecules, the muscle fibers are classified into two types. One is the fast muscle fiber, second one is the slow muscle fiber. So now third type. In the third type, types of the skeletal muscle fibers based on the presence of or absence of the mitochondria. You know what is mitochondria? That is producing giving the more energy to the cells. Okay, so this mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria, we are saying the powerhouse of the cell. Powerhouse of the cell. So each and every cell has a mitochondria. So the presence of the or absence of the mitochondria, the skeletal muscle fibers are classified into two types. Based on which one? Based on the mitochondria. Okay, so right about the classification of the muscle fibers means we want to give the characteristic based on the myosin, the protein, based on the mitochondria. So based on the myosin protein, two types: slow muscle fiber and fast muscle fibers. Okay, because of the myosin protein only, the ATPase activity will differ. More ATPase activity means that is known as the fast muscle fiber. So where ATP activity is very low means that is a slow fibers. Now the skeletal muscles are classified based on the presence of the mitochondria or absence of the mitochondria. So it is classified into two types. One is the oxidative fibers. Another one is the glycolytic fibers. One is what? Oxidative fibers. Another one is called what? Glycolytic fibers. So what is in the oxidative fibers? The fibers means what? The fibers which is present in the muscle. The muscles are they have the more amount of the fibers. The structure of the muscle you studied. In that one you studied about the sarcomere, sarcolemma, sarcoplasm. So you studied there about the fibers. Each and every layer of that is a small layer of the muscles only known as the fibers. The fibers are further divided into fibrils. Like that you studied in the structure of the muscle. Okay, that fibers contain numerous amount of the mitochondria. That means have a more capacity for the oxidative phosphorylation. That is classified as a oxidative fiber. The fibers which has numerous amount of the mitochondria and have a high oxidative capacity. That means what? Oxidative phosphorylation. That type of the muscle fibers are known as oxidative fibers. Do you understand? Differentiation question. That one, differentiate between the oxidative fibers and the glycolytic fibers. The fibers that contain numerous mitochondria and have a high capacity for the oxidative phosphorylation are classified as a oxidative fibers. Suppose the fibers contain few mitochondria but possess high concentration of the glycolytic enzymes. See, high concentration of the glycolytic enzymes and large store of the glycogen. Glycolytic enzyme is high level means the storage of the glycogen takes place. We already know the glucose is stored in the muscles as a glycogen form. We already studied in the lower class itself. The glucose is excess amount of the glucose, that means energy. Glucose is stored in our body. So in the muscles and the liver. Okay, as a glycogen content. So fibers that contain a few mitochondria that possess high concentration of the glycolytic enzymes. So it stores the large amount of the glycogen. That type of the fibers are known as glycolytic fibers. The fibers which has a more amount of the glycogen, that fibers are known as the glycolytic fibers. The fibers which has a more amount of the oxidative phosphorylation, that is called the oxidative fibers. In the oxidative fibers has a large number of the mitochondria. But the glycolytic fibers has a very less number of the mitochondria. Do you understand? Differentiate between the oxidative fibers and glycolytic fibers. Oxidative fibers has numerous amount of mitochondria. At the same time, having the high capacity of the oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, the glycolytic fibers has few mitochondria. At the same time, as high concentration of the glycolytic enzymes. So only it store the more amount of the glycogen. The glucose is converted as a glycogen and stored in the muscle. What is the need? The storage of the glycogen, that is glucose. That is a later use it will helpful for the body. So why how the glycogen is stored in the muscle? That means the glucose is converted as a glycogen and stored in the muscle. With the help of the glycolytic enzyme, the glucose are stored in the muscle as a glycogen for the later use. Do you understand? Next, based on the blood flow, the skeletal muscle fibers are not skeletal muscle classification, skeletal muscle fibers classification. Based on the blood flow, the skeletal muscle fibers classification takes place in two types. One is the red muscle fiber, another one is the white muscle fiber. Red muscle fiber, another one is known as the white muscle fiber. You understand? What is structural organization? Third lesson you studied. In that one, you studied about the red muscle as well as the white muscle. Okay, so that muscle only we are seeing now. The red muscle fiber, white muscle fiber. What is meant by red muscle fiber? Red muscle fibers we are taking means the fibers depend on blood flow. To deliver the oxygen and nutrients to the muscle. Do you understand? The muscle get more amount of the oxygen as well as the nutrients because of blood flow, over blood flow. That means fibers depending to the blood flow and getting the more amount of the oxygen and nutrients. Suppose the blood flow is very low, so the muscle fibers does not get the more amount of the oxygen and nutrients. Okay, the oxygen and nutrients are supplying with the help of the blood flow. That means the blood flowing in the fibers are getting the oxygen and nutrients by the blood. This type of the oxidative fibers are called the red muscle fibers. The muscle fibers which is getting the more blood flow, that is called the red muscle fiber. Red muscle fiber. That is the oxidative fibers. Do you understand? Already you know what is oxidative fibers. The fibers which contain numerous amount of mitochondria as well as it have a high capacity of oxidative phosphorylation. That muscle fibers only known as what? Oxidative muscle fiber. These oxidative muscle fibers get more amount of the blood flow. So it get the more amount of the oxygen as well as the nutrients. Do you understand? That type of the muscle we are saying the red muscle fiber. Which muscle fiber get more amount of the blood. That muscle fiber or blood flow is more in that is delivered to the muscle. That type of the muscle is known as the red muscle fiber. White muscle fiber. The lack of myoglobin. The lack of the myoglobin gives a pale color to the fiber. Suppose the blood flow is very low there. So only the muscle fibers are looks like a what? Pale in color. Okay, they are named as white muscle. That type of the muscle fibers are known as what? White muscle. Do you understand? See in the diagram, red muscle fiber as well as the white muscle fiber. Okay, so because here the blood flow is very low, so only it looks like a pale in color. Okay, so here the blood flow is what? More. So it looks like a what? Red in color. So where the blood flow is more, that muscle fibers are known as the red muscle fiber. Where the blood flow is low, that muscle fibers are looks like a pale. So that is called white muscle fiber. Do you understand? So anyway, the red muscle fiber has a slow pitch. That means what? Contraction is slow. But white muscle fiber, fast pitch. So remember this one. Slow pitch and fast pitch. Which muscle fiber has a slow pitch? That is a red muscle fiber. Need question on this one. Which muscle fiber has a slow pitch? That is a red muscle fiber. Fast pitch takes place in the white muscle fiber. Okay. So next one. The muscle fibers are also classified into different types. It also classified into different types. Okay, that means 3 types of the muscles we can see. Another one classification. The muscle fibers are classified into, already we know, based on the mitochondria, based on the blood flow, based on the mitochondria, it is divided into 2 types. One is the oxidative muscle fiber and the glycolytic muscle fiber. Based on the or depend on the blood flow, it is divided into red muscle fiber and white muscle fiber. Now the skeletal muscle fibers are also classified into 3 types. One is the slow oxidative muscle fiber. Another one is the fast oxidative muscle fiber. and third one, fast glycolytic muscle fiber. The diagram not given in your book. See in the diagram. Which one is a fast glycolytic, which one is a slow, and which one is a fast oxidative. First one, slow oxidative fibers. You know what is oxidative fibers? What is meant by oxidative fibers? The fibers that contain numerous mitochondria and have a high capacity for oxidative phosphorylation are called what? Oxidative fibers. These oxidative fibers, low rates of the myosin ATP activity. It has a very low rate of the myosin ATP activity is very low and can make large amount of ATP and can make large amounts of ATP. Do you understand? It has a low rates of the myosin ATP. It has a low rates of the myosin ATP activity and it can make large amount of ATP. It has already having the myosin ATP is very low. So it needs the large amount of ATP. These fibers are used for prolonged regular activity, such as long distance swimming. This type of these fibers are used for prolonged regular activity, such as a long distance swimming. Long distance runners also have the high proportion of these fibers in their leg muscles. That is a calf muscle. The muscles which are present in the leg, that is called the calf muscle. Okay, so slow oxidative fibers we are taking is there is low rate of the myosin ATP activity, so it may make large amount of ATP. At the same time, these are used for prolonged regular activity, like what? Long distance swimming. Long distance runners have high proportion of these type of the muscle fibers in their leg muscles. Okay, that is what? Slow oxidative fibers. Already what is happening there? Low rate of the myosin ATP activity. So it will make the large amount of ATP. At the same time, these are used for prolonged regular activity, such as a long distance swimming. As well as the long distance runners are also have a high proportion of these fibers, especially in the leg muscles. Okay. So next, fast oxidative fibers. The fast oxidative fibers, it have here, this type of the fibers only known as the fast oxidative fibers. These fast oxidative fibers, high myosin ATP. What is that? High myosin ATPase activity and make a large amount of ATP. Here, low rate of the myosin ATP activity. Here, large amount of the high myosin ATPase activity and make large amount of ATP. They are particularly switched for the rapid action. Particularly what action? Rapid action. Okay. Next one. Fast glycolytic fibers. It has myosin ATPase activity, but cannot make here ATPase activity fibers. You understand? It has myosin ATPase activity. It has myosin ATPase activity, but cannot make much amount of ATPase oxidative fibers. These fibers are switched for rapid as well as the instant action, such as a short sprint and maximum speed. This type of the muscle activity, only maximum speed only in the body. Okay, these are the three type of the muscles activity. Do you understand? So based on the classification of the muscle fibers, or otherwise the muscle fibers has a different type of the classification. So based on the or depend on the changes in the length as well as the tension of the muscle fibers, it is classified into two types, isometric as well as isotonic. And as well as the muscle fibers are classified based on the myosin two types. One is the fast fibrous as well as the slow fibrous. And the presence or absence of the mitochondria, the muscle fibers are classified into two types. One is the oxidative fibers, another one is the glycolytic fibers. Based on the or depend on the blood flow, the muscle fibers are classified into two types, red muscle fiber as well as the white muscle fiber. Apart from this one, the skeletal muscle fibers are classified into three types. One is the slow oxidative fibers, next fast oxidative fibers, and the fast glycolytic fibers. Do you understand? If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. So next one. After this one, under the locomotion and locomotion of the body. So we are studying about the muscles as well as the skeletal system. So the muscular system is completed. So next system is skeletal system. Next system is what? Skeletal system. The same lesson. Next topic is skeletal system. Okay. So in the skeletal system, today we are the skeletal system topic. Today we are going to discuss about only the skeletal system and its function. Skeletal system and its function, like in introduction part. Okay. So what is skeletal system? The skeletal system is constituted by a framework of bones and cartilage. Framework of bones and cartilage. First, we want to know about what is skeletal system. The skeletal system is constituted. What is that word? Constituted. Constituted by a framework of bones as well as the cartilages. Bones and cartilages. Bone and the cartilage. This is the topic also you already studied in the third lesson, structural organization, about the bones and cartilages. But in this chapter, we will read elaborately about the bones and cartilages. So the skeletal system is constituted by a framework. It is a framework of our body. This framework of that is what bones and cartilages are making the framework to our body and giving the one of the structure that is called the skeletal system. Okay, this skeletal system derived from the embryonic mesoderm. Embryonic mesoderm. Embryonic mesoderm. You know, ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. Okay, so from the mesoderm only, the skeletal system is formed. During the embryonic stage, the embryo is as a 3 layers: ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. In the second lesson itself, we studied about the ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. So each and every layer are producing the organs in our body. So the skeletal system is totally producing, that means we are developing from the mesoderm layer. Need question mark, this one. The skeletal system is derived from the dash, derived from the whether ectoderm or endoderm or mesoderm. So the skeletal system is derived from the mesoderm. Next, the muscles are attached to the bones. The muscles are attached to the bones by means of tendons. Tendons. That is called what? Tendons. Already know about what is ligament and what is tendon. The muscles are attached to the bones by tendons. One bone is attached to the other bones, that is called the ligaments. I think you remember about that one. What is tendon and what is ligaments? You already written the discuss. Okay. What is tendon? The muscles are attached to the bones. That means one muscle attached to the bones by the help of tendons. One bone is attached to the other bones by the help of the ligaments. Okay. So here the skeletal system operate. The skeletal systems of work or otherwise operate as a levers. It operates like a what? Levers. One word. Skeletal system operate as a levers. Do you understand? First, we want to know about this one. What is skeletal system? Skeletal system constituted by a framework of bones and cartilage. That means bones, cartilage, everything totally making one framework to the body or constructing the body. That is called the skeletal system. Where the skeletal system derived? The skeletal system derived from the one layer during the embryonic stage. That the layer is known as the mesoderm. The muscles are attached to the bones. Each muscles are attached with the bones by the help of one type of the things that is called the tendons. Suppose bone and bones are attaching it, that is attached by the ligaments. Anyway, this skeletal system operates as a levers. Operate as a levers. First, we want to see 3 types of the skeletal system we can see in the living world. In the living world, we can see 3 kinds of the living world. Living world means which one? Both invertebrate and vertebrate. That means both plant as well as animals. In the animal kingdom, we can see the 3 kinds of the skeletal system. Because animal kingdom including the invertebrate vertebrates. Okay. In the invertebrate vertebrates totally as a skeletal system. The skeletal system is classified into 3 types. One is the hydrostatic skeleton. Second one is the exoskeleton. Third one is known as endoskeleton. Do you understand? Don't get confusion. The skeletal system totally classified into three. One is the hydrostatic, second one is the exoskeleton, and third one is the endoskeleton. Okay, first, what is hydroskeleton? This hydroskeleton is found in the soft body invertebrates. You know what is soft body invertebrates? Like coelacanths, porifera. These are the soft body invertebrates. Sponges, porifera example, sponges. Coelacanth examples, we can say that hydra. So these are as a soft body animals. The soft body invertebrates as a hydrostatic skeleton. What type of the hydrostatic skeleton? What type of the skeleton is present in the soft body invertebrates? What type of the skeleton is present? What whether hydrostatic or exoskeleton or endoskeleton? Hydroskeleton is present found in the soft body invertebrates. Okay. So it is one of the fluid-like filled cavity. So there is no bones and no cartilages. So it is, that is hydrostatic means what? It is a fluid-filled cavity. That fluid-filled cavity is encircled by muscles. Encircled by muscles. You know the structure of the sponge. You know the structure of the hydra. That is the irregular structure. The body is as a cavity. So what it is called the coelomatic animals. The cavity is filled with the fluid. That only giving the support to the body. So the hydrostatic skeleton is present in the soft body invertebrates, as well as the fluid-filled cavity is encircled by the muscles. Example, we can say the earthworm. Earthworm, coelomate animals. It is coming under the which phylum? Do you know earthworm? Annelida. Which phylum? Annelida. That is the example for the hydrostatic skeleton. We understand there is no cartilages, there is no bones, no, there is no heavy things in the body. The body is, you know, already is I think you know about the structure of the earthworm. They already studied in the structural organization about the earthworm detail. So in that we studied about the external structure of the earthworm. So the external structure of the earthworm we studied in the box itself. They given the hydrostatic skeleton in your book. Okay, so the earthworm as a what type of skeleton? Hydrostatic skeleton. Why there is hydrostatic skeleton? Because there is no cartilages bones or no bones as well as the cartilages. Because only the fluid-filled cavity is present. The fluid-filled cavity is surrounded by the muscles. That only giving the support to the body. Okay, so anyway, the soft body invertebrates, all the organisms have only the hydrostatic skeleton. Okay, next, exoskeleton. These exoskeletons also found in the invertebrates. This exoskeleton or this type of the skeleton also present in the invertebrates. It is one of the rigid, hard case. Rigid. That means what? That is a tightly rigid, hard case present outside of the body. Outside of the body of the animals. You can see here. These are the exoskeleton examples. The beetles and the spider, as well as what insects, prawn, these are covered as one of the odd, covered by the odd portion. That only known as the skeleton. That is a rigid, hard case present outside of the body of the animals. Example, we can say the cockroach. The cockroach is coming under the insect. The insect is one of the class in the phylum Arthropod. Phylum what? Arthropod. Do you understand? Okay, the invertebrates itself, we can see the lower organism and the upper organism. That is higher organism. Up to Annelida, we can see the lower organism. That are soft body animals. That soft body animals are the hydrostatic skeleton. The upper organisms that are covered by the rigid and the odd case of the outer layer. So that is called the exoskeleton. Do you understand? Third one, endoskeleton, which is found in the inside of the body of the vertebrates. Like our body. So this type of the skeleton is present inside of the body and composed of the bones as well as the cartilages. This skeletal system is composed of bones as well as the cartilages, as well as surrounded by the muscles. The bones and cartilages are surrounded by the muscles. Example, human beings. Example what? Human beings. Do you understand? So the skeletal system is classified into how many types? 3 types. One is the hydrostatic, Second one is the exoskeleton. Third one is the endoskeleton. So hydrostatic skeleton is we can see in the soft-bodied animals. Okay, example here. Exoskeletons we can see in the invertebrates, but that also the animals are covered by the rigid hard case part. Okay, that is called the exoskeleton. Next, for that we can give the example arthropoda. These all the animals are coming under the arthropoda. Okay, arthropoda means numerous legs are present. At the same time, the body is covered by the rigid hard case. Okay, so next, for example, we can see the mollusca also. Mollusca. That also we can give the example for the snail. The body is covered by what? The shell. The shell is one of the hard case. Okay, hard rigid case. So this one, see, scallop muscles. That means freshwater muscle. It's called what? Freshwater muscle. Freshwater muscle. This is also covered by the shell. Okay, these are the hard case. Okay, so these are the example for the exoskeleton. Endoskeleton. Example, human beings. Okay, because the vertebrae, the bones are present in the inside of the body. Bones, cartilages are totally composed and forming the skeletal system that is surrounded by the muscles. Okay, see the example. Can given the human bones. Okay, it is an example for the exoskeleton stain. It is an example for the there is what hydrostatic skeleton example here. Do you understand? Okay. In human beings, the skeletal system is made up of, in human beings, the skeletal system is made up of 206 bones and cartilages. In human being, the skeletal system is made up of how many bones? 206 bones. How many bones are present? 206 bones. Bones and cartilages. 206 bones and cartilages in human being. Because in this lesson we are going to discuss about the skeletal system of the human beings. Okay, further I am giving that one of the introduction. In human beings, the skeletal system is made up of how many bones? 206 bones and cartilages. These 206 bones are classified into two types. The 206 bones are classified into two types. One is known as the axial skeleton. One type is known as what? Axial skeleton. Okay. Second type is known as the appendicular skeleton. Appendicular skeleton. Appendicular skeleton. Do you understand? So how many types of the skeletons are present in our body? Two types. One is known as what? Axial skeleton, and another one is known as the appendicular. Totally, how many bones are present in our body? 206. So out of 206 bones, axial skeleton bones are only 80. How many bones are axial skeleton? 80 bones are axial skeleton bones. Appendicular skeleton bones are 126. How many bones are appendicular bones? 126. Totally 206 bones are present in our body. Do you understand? How many bones are present in our body? 206. The 206 are classified into two groups. One is axial skeleton, another one is the appendicular skeleton. Axial skeletons are totally how many bones? 80 bones. So how many bones are present coming under the appendicular skeleton? 126 bones are coming under the appendicular skeleton. Okay. Next, we are going to see function of the skeletal system. What is the function of the skeletal system? You know what is skeletal system? What is skeletal system? The skeletal system constituted by a framework of bones and cartilages. So what is function in our body? What are the functions that takes place by the skeletal system in our body? First, it is giving the support. Okay. Second, the skeletal system gives shape to the body. Next, it is giving the protection to our body. As well as it is act like a reservoir. Act like a reservoir. Next, it is helpful for the locomotion. And it is giving the strength to the body. And it acts like a hemopoietic tissue. Act like a hemopoietic tissue. 5 mark sigma. Write about the function of the skeletal system. Write about the function of the skeletal system. First, it is giving what? Support. Second, it is giving the shape to the body. And it is giving the protection to the body. And it acts as a reservoir. and it is helpful for the locomotion, and it gives the strength to the body, and it acts as a hemopoietic tissue. Okay, so first, how it is giving the support to the body? It forms a rigid framework. A rigid framework. That means what? Tight. Rigid framework, and supports the weight of the body against gravity. Against gravity. So only we are standing without falling on the ground. We are standing firmly without falling on the ground because it's giving what? Rigid framework as well as support the weight of the body against for which one? Gravity. So like that, the skeletal system is giving the support to our. So second, it provides and maintaining the shape of the body. You imagine and see, think and see. So suppose there is no bones in our body. How we will keep our body? How we will stand in the land? We will look like what we will fall like a snail or a worm like that only our body, because there is not a that is what is rigid of the framework in the body. But in shape, it gives the shape as well as the maintaining the shape of the body as well as providing the shape of the body. Next, it gives the protection. It gives the protection for the delicate internal organs of the body. For example, heart, lungs. The heart and lungs are covered by the ribs. The ribs are also what? Like a bones. Okay. So anyway, the internal organs are getting protection by the help of the what? Skeletons. That is a third function, protection. Next, it acts as a reservoir. How it acts as a reservoir? Reservoir means what? It stored more amount of the things. The bones are stores minerals like a calcium, phosphorus, sodium, potassium. These all things are stored in the bones. So only the bones are giving what? That is a rigid condition and giving the support to the body, and it is a one of the hard part of our body. At the same time, the fat are those stored in the bone. That is called the yellow bone marrow. That is called what? Bone marrow. The fats are maximum stored in the muscle. So the some fats are stored in the bones. Okay. So that bone is, we are saying what? Yellow bone, and another bone is known as the bone marrow. One is the yellow bone and bone marrow, where the fats are stored in our body in the muscles as well as the what? Bone. So what type of the bones are stored in the fat? Yellow bone as well as the bone marrow store the fat. That is called the reservoir. Reservoir means storing the things. The bones are stored the minerals. What type of the minerals are storing in the bones? Calcium as well as the phosphorus. Calcium as well as the phosphorus. Next, locomotion. The skeletal systems act as a lever. I already told you. The skeletal system is act as a what? Lever, along with the muscles. Already I told you, the muscles are attached to the bones by the tendons. So it acts as a what? Lever. So along with the muscles. So okay. So whenever the body is moving, that time the muscles as well as the bones are making like a what? Lever. So it is not lever, it is called what? Lever. Next, it is giving the strength for it withstand heavy weight. We are holding the heavy weight, so the time the skeletal system is giving the most strength to the body and absorb the mechanical shock. So like that, it is giving the strength to our body. So next, as a hemopoietic tissue, it acts as a what? Hemopoietic tissue. That means red blood cells as well as white blood cells. Red blood cells only we are saying the erythrocytes. RBC cells. White blood cells are we are saying the leukocytes. The erythrocytes, leukocytes, these all are produced in the bone marrow. The bone marrow of the ribs. Bone marrow of the ribs. As well as sponge bones of vertebrate. Vertebra, that is backbone. We are saying no. So the sponge bones of the vertebra are estimates of the long bones. The long bones also are producing, that is a RBC and WBC cells. RBC cells and WBC cells are producing in our body from the bone marrow as well as that also bone marrow of the ribs as well as the sponge bones of the vertebra and the estimates of the long bones. Estimates of the long bones. You understand? Where the RB cells and WB cells are producing in our body. One of the two markers. The red blood cells as well as the white blood corpuscles are producing in the bone marrow of the ribs, as well as the sponge bones of the vertebral column, as well as the extremities of the long bones. These are the function of the skeletal system. What are the function? First one is the support. Second one is shape. It's giving the shape to the body and giving the protection to the body and act as a reservoir. So only the more amount of the minerals like calcium and phosphorus are stored in the bone, as well as the fat is stored in the yellow bone as well as the bone marrow, and it acts as a lever. So because it can attach to the muscles and act as a lever. So next strength, it giving the strength. So withstand heavy weight as well as absorbing the mechanical shock. Next, it acts as a hemopoietic tissue. Very, very important one, hemopoietic tissue. So hemo means what? Blood. So poietic tissue. So it's producing the blood cells. So what it is called the hemopoietic tissue. Why the bones are called as a hemopoietic tissue? Reason assertion question. Okay, because it producing the RB cells as well as the WB cells. So only these bones are known as what? Hemopoietic tissue. It is called as a hemopoietic tissue. So where the RB cells and WB cells are producing in the bone marrow of the ribs, as well as the sponge bones of the vertebra, as well as the vertebrate or vertebra we can say. Vertebra means vertebral column. Vertebral column. That means vertebral column has a number of the bones, that is called the vertebra. Okay, so the vertebra, sponge bones of the vertebra producing the RB cells and WB cells, as well as the extremities of the long bones also producing the RB cells and WB cells. Right about the function of the skeletal system. We want to view the function, that is what? 7 function. Okay, so remember this one. So anyway, all muscles produce the movement. All muscles are produce the movement because the muscles are attached to the bone by the tendons. All muscles are produce the movement. But the skeletal muscle is responsible for the locomotion. Because all muscles produce movement, we start making the contraction, muscle contraction. But skeletal muscle is responsible for locomotion. Skeletal muscle is responsible for what? Especially locomotion. That is a major function of the skeletal muscle. Okay, skeletal muscle is responsible for the locomotion, not the skeletal system. The skeletal muscles. What is the skeletal muscle? The muscles which are attached to the skeleton are attached to the bones. That is called the skeletal muscle. Do you understand what is skeletal muscle? Because the muscles are separated. What is a cardiac muscle? Another one is a smooth muscle, and third one is a skeletal muscle. You already studied that. Okay, tissues. The lesson name is what? Tissue. In that you study about the 3 kinds of the muscular tissue. Skeletal muscle, that is a cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. Okay, the skeletal muscles is responsible for what? Locomotion. Why it is responsible for locomotion? Because these muscles are attached to the bones by the tendons, so it acts as a lever during the locomotion. Do you understand? Next class, we will read about the different kinds of the skeletal bones. Okay, I already told how many kinds of the skeletal bones are present in the human body. 2 kinds of the skeletal bone. One is the axial skeleton, another one is the appendicular skeleton. How many bones are coming under the axial skeleton? The axial skeleton consists of 80 bones. Appendicular skeleton consists of 126 bones. Okay, so about these bones, detailing we will discuss in the next class. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Discussion பண்ணலாமா? இது டைம் ரைட் ஸ்டார்ட் Time ஆயிடுச்சு. அப்படியே எவ்வளவு நேரம் ஆயிடுச்சு? எவ்வளவு நேரம் ஆயிடுச்சு? அப்படிதான் பாருங்க.
என்ன தெரியுது?
அது close.
இல்ல விஷயம் தெரியுதுன்னா ரைட்டு போடுறது தேவை. நட சொன்னீங்க.
Hello students, this is a time for botany. In the last session in the botany, which topic is going to classify, types of foods, which namely simple foods, then dry foods, among them dry digestion, dry integration, and cytoplasmic. Like this is discussed. Now, which topic is going to discuss about means seed. Seed, it is generally present in angiosperm plants. Now come to the point. Do all the fruits contain seed? No. The triploid fruits do not contain seeds. Triploid is commonly called as 3N condition. The 3N condition plants do not contain fruits. Now come to the point. What are the definitions of seed? Seed is nothing but fertilized matured ovule. What I am telling? Seed is nothing but what? Fertilized mature ovule which possess embryonic plant. Possess embryonic plants. The seed which contain nutritive food nutritive food. That food is enclosed by seed coat. So seed is a fertilized mature ovule which possesses on embryonic plants, are also called future plant. The seed which containing food, that's a nutritive food, which is all enclosed by seed coat. For here, after fertilization, the ovules undergo number of changes. After fertilization, the ovules are undergo number of changes. After the ovules transform into seed. So ovule is became as a seed. Ovary is became as a seed. That's already discussed. So when the ovules are became transformed into seed means after fertilization. What is fertilization? Fusion of male and female gametes. So after the fusion, there are number of changes are occur in the ovule. That ovule became transformed into form seed. Now I am going to discuss about types of seed. The seed can be classified various steps. First of all, on the basis of cotyledon. What is that? On the basis of cotyledon, the seed can be classified as two types. One is dicotyledons. So what do you mean dicotyledons plants or dicotyledons? Di is a two. So when the seeds are kept in a soil, after germinate, they can be produced two cotyledons. Or the seed which emerging produce two cotyledons at a time of germination, that is commonly called as dicotyledons. What are the examples of dicot plant is namely called as Mangifera, then Tectona. There are a number of species are there. So Mangifera and Tectona. You know what is the Mangifera? The binomial name of mango. What is Tectona? That's the full name is Tectona grandis. This is the binomial name of tea. Next, second one. Monocotyledon. So what is a mono? It's a single or one. So when the seeds are immersed in a soil, they can be produced only one cotyledon. Example, maize, then rice, that is to be said, on the basis of cotyledon, the seeds can be classified dicotyledon seed or dicotyledon plants, monocotyledon seed or monocotyledon plants. Now I am going to discuss about it. On the basis of presence and the absence of endosperm. Readily. On the basis of presence or absence of endosperm. You know, what do you mean endosperm? Endosperm is a nutritive tissue. So based on the nutritive tissue, the seed can be classified to two types. For the first one, endosperm seeds. Are also known as albuminous seeds. What is the name? Endosperm seeds are also called albuminous seeds. So what is the meaning of endosperm seed? Is nothing but here the cotyledons are thin and membranous. Really? What are cartilage? The first emerging component that is commonly called as cartilage. The cartilages are what? Thin and membranous. So, the mature seed containing endosperm. Which one? The mature seed containing endosperm. That endosperm is utilized. Seedlings at early developments. You know, are you able to understand? The cartilages are thin and membranous. The mature seed is containing endosperm. That endosperm is utilized seedlings at early developments. So what I understand that the mature seed which containing endosperm, that endosperm is utilized seedlings at the early stages. So there is no residues present in the seed. So the net gain of seeds are nothing endosperm is present. Such a seed is commonly called as endosperm seeds. Example, castor. Then helianthus. The one more example is called as nice. So what are the examples of albuminous seeds? Castor, that's a commonly called as a resinous carboninous. There's a helianthus anus, that is sunflower seed. Nice, this is yamis. Those will be considered is a endosperm seeds. Can I go to the next one is commonly called as commonly called as non-endosperm seeds. Are also known as non-albuminous seeds. So non, it's denoted absent, that means like this. Here, the food is completely replaced by developing it. What I'm telling you? The food is completely utilized. Developing in the food is completely utilized developing in. So the mature seeds are without endosperm. The food is completely utilized by developing embryo. So the mature seeds are without endosperm. In such a seed, the food is stored in cotyledons. That's why the cotyledons are commonly called as thick and fleshy. So this is a seed is commonly called as non-endosperm seeds, also called non-albuminous seeds. Example: P is called Physon subtype. The next one is namely called as groundnut. So on the basis of cotyledon, monocot seed, dicot seed, or monocot plant, dicot plant, on the basis of presence and the absence of endosperm, the seed can be classified as two types. It's namely called as albuminous seeds. One more is commonly called as non-albuminous seeds. Now I'm going to discuss about significance of seed. Now, what are the importance of seed? Okay, yes. The first one importance. The seeds which enclose and products the developing embryo for next generation. You know what I say? The seed is play as an important part to enclose or to cover. It gives as product, which give to product for developing embryo for the next generation. Which one plants is to be further to developing? The seed is to give as product. This is that first significance of seed. Second one, the seed containing food. That food is utilized in developing embryo. What I'm telling? Seeds are containing food. That food is utilized by developing embryo. That is second significance of seed. Third one, the seeds helps dispersal, which help of dispersal to develop new individual plants. Seeds helps in dispersal to developing new individual plants. The fourth one significance namely called as seed is maintained for perpetuation of species. The seeds maintained for perpetuation of species. For here, it may be live during dormant period. It will be live during dormant period. At the same time, it's developed during favorable condition. What telling? It will lie dormant during unfavorable condition. It will be like is a dormant during unfavorable condition. It may develop during favorable condition. Such a characteristics are present in seed. The fourth one characteristic commonly called as seed. It is a basis for agriculture. The basis for agriculture. Sixth one, seed is a product of sexual reproduction. What are the link? Seed is a product of sexual reproduction. Because of the nature, the seeds are having genetic variation. Please underline. The seeds have genetic variation as well as recombinations are occur. What is genetic variation? Variations occur in the gene. It's a genetic. What a recombination. So the plant seed which contain two different kinds of plants, combination of genes are there. That's called recombinations of gene or recombination of plants. So those 6 is namely called as significance of seeds. I am going to the next chapter. That is called 5th chapter. Taxonomy of angiosperm. So you know what is the angiosperm? Flowering plants. So you know plants. It is a very good companions of human beings in our areas. So plants are the real companions of human beings because the plants are existing everywhere in aquatic as well as terrestrial mode of life. That's what we say. Plants is a real companions of human beings in the universe. Okay. Apart from the plants provide so many kinds of components for human beings. What are the components that can be provided? Yes, here the plants provide food. The plants provide shelter. The plants provide clothes. The plants provide energy. The plants provide beverages. Apart from food, shelter, clothes, energy, and beverages, the plants it's also produced to help to survival of living organism. That is commonly called it's provide oxygen. And also it is maintained to aesthetic value of environment. Aesthetic environment. So it is not only providing food, shelter, clothes, and energy, as like beverages. The plant that can provide one of the gaseous component is called oxygen. In the presence of the oxygen, all living organisms is survival to be occur. Who responsible means plants. In addition, if the terrestrial land without plants, that's not a beautiness, which is due to the beauty. What is meaning aesthetic means beauty. That's meaning like this. Which is gives beauty in this environment means plant that can be used to environment. Beauty is as environment. Okay, next. The taxonomic arrangements of the human being, it is not only restricted to the living organisms. So you know what I'm telling? Taxonomic arrangements of the human beings, it is not restricted only in the living organisms, because the classification is not only for the living organisms, it is extend some other field also. Where it can be possible to be extend? Yes. Now this extent will be going on. How? Yes. With the help of this knowledge, it will be helped to identify describes and naming. What's about that? You identify and then you must do describes and then you give as a naming of food. Then books. Then games. Then vehicles and other articles. So what are the things must be present in order to them? You are undergo classify. First, identify, describe, and naming to give different kinds of food, different kinds of books, different kinds of game, different kinds of vehicles. So different is nothing but what a classification. That is called taxonomy. So the taxonomic arrangement is not only restricted to living beings, it is extended to food, book, games, and the vehicles and some other articles. So every human being is an taxonomy system. It is taught from his underline cradle to grave. They start to cradle to they start to cradle to grave. But a cradle at the time of birth, but a grave at the time of death. So what I'm telling, each and every human beings, thus it will act as a taxonomist from cradle to grave to cradle to grave. That's a call. Birth to death. What are the human beings are there? Those are everybody's they act as a taxonomist. So taxonomy, it goes as a witness because the taxonomy development is present in the history of early stages to still no modernization. So when the taxonomic studies are started, from the time itself, now itself, the developments itself takes place. In addition to here, when the human life settled on the earth, from the time the plants is utilized for various purposes. Apart from food, it is used as curative properties of ailments. What do you mean called ailments? So what I'm telling, the taxonomy developments, it's developing from early ages to still now. In addition, when the human life is settled on the earth, from the time the plants, it can support a lot of ways the human beings, purposely food, shelter, apart from it is used as a curative properties of ailments. What is the meaning of ailment is commonly called as diseases. So the plants is used as a curative properties of number of diseases. Okay, next. Who has to be called as father of botany? Theophrastus. So Theophrastus is called as father of botany. He belongs to Greek philosopher. He belongs to Greek philosopher. He has to be considered as a father of botany. What is the name? Theophrastus. He named and described 500 plant species. Please underline. He named and described 500 plant species. In the books of, please underline, De Historia Plantarum. Which books? De Historia Plantarum. In these books, Theophrastus to given name and descriptions of plants. It is mentioned the books commonly called as De Historia Plantarum. Later, Dioscotus he also commonly called as Greek physician. Dioscotus is a Greek physician. He also give name and explain about 600 medicinal plants. The 600 medicinal plants described in the books is commonly called as Materia Medica. So Theophrastus to give name and description about 500 plants in the books namely called as De Historia Plantarum. Likewise, later Dioscotus, he is belongs to Greek physician. He also he give name and description about 600 medicinal plants in the books namely called as Materia Medica. So for here, what you have to learn for this component is commonly called as. Those are is very good help for classifications of the plants. Later, from the 18th centuries onwards, which is from 18th century onwards, in France, the 18th century onwards, in Europe, developments occur in the field of developed from the 18th century onwards. In Europe, the developments takes place in the taxonomy, where the developments occur the field of taxonomy, which you can see in Europe when the time is coming on from the 18th century. Who are the key contributors for developments taxonomy in European countries during 18th century community conducts? Number of scientists are much contributed for the development. For example, first one, Andrea Cisalpina, then John Ray, then Jean Bourgin, then Caspar Bourgin, then Termwood. Those are commonly called as key role of development taxonomy in Europe during 18th century. But later, binomial nomenclature is better. Who are first coined and as well as who are first explanation given to binomial nomenclature is namely called as Carolus Linnaeus. His blank is Sweden. Sweden botanist. The binomial nomenclature is properly utilized. Carolus Linnaeus, when the era of 1750. The binomial nomenclature, the Carolus Linnaeus utilized to explain 7,300 species. So, what are the definitions of binomial nomenclature? Bi is a two. Nomial, that's commonly called as name. Nomenclature means to give as specify techniques. So, what are the definitions of binomial nomenclature means? Every plant possesses two words. The first word is refers to genus. The second word is refers to species. But a single word is not as a name of the plant. The two words comprise a name of the plant. For example, binomial name of mango. That is commonly called as Mangifera indica. So Mangifera is nothing but genus name. Indica is nothing but what species name. But a single word is not as a name of the plant. Two words comprise is a name of the plant. So binomial nomenclature to explain Carolus Linnaeus in the books of Species Plata. Which book? Binomial nomenclature is explained the books namely called what? Species Plata. In the Species Plata, how many number of plant specimens to be examined? There are 7,300 plant species to group binomial names. For the taxonomy, classify is not only based on morphological characters. Certainly, taxonomic studies is not only based on morphological character. They can get data from other disciplinary science. So you are not classified is based on morphology. You are utilized to some other fields also. What are the some other fields are utilized to classify the plant is commonly called as? First of all, plant physiology, cell biology, biochemistry, then ecology, then modern biotechnology, then molecular biology, then pharmacology. What do you mean pharmacology? Means study of drug. Then bioinformatics. So you are get data from other disciplinary science like this: physiology, cell biology, biochemistry, ecology, modern biotechnology, molecular biology, pharmacology, and bioinformatics. From that, you are applying the data based on the nature. You are classification techniques. So the taxonomic studies help to understand. Really, the taxonomic studies it helps to understand various fields like biodiversity, and also wildlife management, then forest management of natural resources, and sustainable use of plants and eco restoration. What is restoration means? Recover. So the taxonomic studies it helps to understand biodiversity, wildlife, forest management, and the sustainable use of plants and eco restorations. Next, I am going to discuss about what is meaning commonly called as taxonomy and the systematics. What next? Taxonomy and first of all, what do you call taxonomy? The word taxonomy is named from Greek word. It includes two words. Taxa, that means commonly called as arrangements. Namas, that is mean commonly called as rules or law. So you arrange the plants based on the rule or based on the norm. So what's on that? The word taxonomy is divided from big word. It excludes two words, namely taxa and namas. Taxa means arrangement. Namas means rules or law. So what are definitions of taxonomy is commented on this? The scientific explanation is nothing but arrangement of plants in a basis of principles, then procedures, then rules. So scientific naming of the plant on the basis of principles, procedures and rules. That is commonly called as taxonomy. Next, I am going to commonly call it what is systematics. Who are first to use the term or coin the term is commonly called Simpson. In the year of 1960. He was the first person coined the term systematics. What a definition of systematics is commonly called as scientific studies of living organism. Scientific studies of living organism and relationship among them. So what is the definitions of taxonomy? Arrangement of plants in and the principle, procedure and the rules. Our naming is based on principles, procedure and the rules. What is the systematics commonly called as scientific studies of living organism and along with the relationship of among them. So taxonomy and biosystematics both are is a similar term but having some differences. Now I understand. First of all, taxonomy. Here, what is the first one? Classifying organism on the basis of taxa. Classifying organism on the basis of taxa. Here, studies of plants diversification. Studies of plants on diversification. So it is commonly called as a mass group of plants. Among that mass group, what are the irrelated compounds of that? Those plants should be avoided. Those plants should be diversification. So classifying organism on the basis of taxa. Taxa means commonly called as plants or species. For biodiversity, the studies of the plants on the basis of diversification. Second thing, taxonomy is a govern. That's a help means. First of all, it is going to first identify Second, describing. Third, naming. Fourth one, species preservation. So identification, describe, naming, and species preservation, that is accompanied with the taxonomy. What about biosystematics, are also called as systematics? Nothing but it is governed evolutionary studies. And phylogenetic relationship. In addition to taxonomy, evolutionary studies and the phylogenetic relationship, in addition to the taxonomy. That's a second characteristic of evolution. Third one, classification. Nomenclature. It is equal to taxonomy. What is it? Classification, nomenclature is equal to taxonomy. Here, taxonomy along with phylogeny is equal to systematics. Okay, so those are three is commonly called as differences between taxonomy and biosystematics. Next, I am going to discuss about what do you mean taxonomical hierarchy. Taxonomic hierarchy. Hierarchy is commonly called as arrangements. So, who are first to use the term taxonomic hierarchy? Yes, Carolus Linnaeus. Who are first use the term taxonomic hierarchy? Carolus Linnaeus. So, what are definitions of taxonomic hierarchy? It's a called arrangement of species on the basis of taxonomic level. Arrangement of species on the basis of taxonomic level. From kingdom to species, or from descending order of kingdom to species. So, which is the largest component of classification is commonly called as? First of all, kingdom, then division, then subdivision, then class, then subclass, then order, then suborder, then family, then subfamily, then genus, then subgenus, then series, the last one, species. So this is the things to be said. Taxonomical hierarchy. So among the nature, which is that smallest level of classification is nothing but species. So species is the lowest unit of classification, but it can be possess more similarities. It possesses more similarities than that of differences. So, for example, Helianthus anus and Helianthus tuberculosis. What name? Helianthus anus and Helianthus tuberculosis. Those two plants morphologically differ, but both are herbaceous plant. But among the herbaceous plant, Helianthus tuberculosis, it is a perennial. So there is a species. What is the second one? Genus. Genus, it is a completely different from the species of other genus. So for example, Tridox is one genus. Mangifera is one genus. But those genus is completely different from each other. Next, family. A number of genus are compressed together to form family. The families, it is always having less similarities than genus and species. What the example is commonly called as Astraceae. So the families typically show some similarities. So first species, second genus, then family, then order. A number of families are compressed together to form what order? All the orders are having less similarities. Then class. A number of order compressed together to form order. It can be possess few similarities. Next, division. A number of classes are compressed together to form division. What are the examples commonly called as? It is the next level of classification. Example, Magnolia phyta. The largest unit of classification is commonly called as kingdom. That is namely called as plantae. So that is commonly called as taxonomical hierarchy. So students, so up to this session, I would like to be coming to the 5th chapter. What is that taxonomy? What is that biosystematics? What are the differences between taxonomy and biosystematics? What is taxonomical hierarchy? Those are things is discussing. The remaining things is discussed next class. Thank you.